Let's take a quick look through my previous transactions in the watches that I let go. All right. I'm starting this January 30th, 2020, so we can see the last year and a half of activity on my collection. As I said, the activity had increased significantly once I started the channel because, of course, the incentive to access a lot of different pieces. So we start with the IWC Pilot Chronograph. I have a video on this watch on the site. Sold it to a nice guy in Germany. I got 2,700 euros for this watch. I probably could have gotten more for it, but again, as I've often said, I just want my value back. I'm not looking for a profit. And then here's my Wachmann triple date. I shouldn't say mine because I no longer have it. And I got 2,000 euros for that one in March of last year. Nice piece. I also have a video on that. Again in March, I sold my second Rolex. My first was a Milgauss that unfortunately I didn't own at the time I started the channel. I only started the channel 2 years ago. In fact, all of this trading activity, like I said, was pretty much stimulated by the channel. But I sold my Milgauss because I thought it was kind of, okay, nice and legacy, but don't boast about it, a feature that's been blown away by Omega with their left hand. But they do make nice watches. I have a love-hate relationship with Rolex, okay? But here was a bluesy, and I sold it, I got 5,800 for it. I sold it for 62. Of course, Chrono takes their, 30 pieces of silver, and so I get 58. I mean, you're gonna have to factor in commission on anything that you can trust unless you meet the person in person, all right? So that's another reason I'm not that worried about profit, because by the time, all is said and done, postage time, just break even, get the value back out of it, and move on, All right, July, I sold Panerai, fire. Then in July, I sold this Panerai. Again, this was one that I sold before I had the channel. I do talk about the bluesy. I don't do a review, but I have it in a couple of videos where I talk about, 2 watch collections and a couple of other things. And also a lot of people have done some stuff on the sub, and it is a phenomenal piece. I won't take anything away from it. So this Panerai, I would have kept it, but it was the 40 millimeter, 42 millimeter, was the smaller one, not the 44 millimeter. And I sold it for 38 and I got 36 out of it in July. Now, the Sin 142, I almost miss it, but, the Speedy just can't be beat. And frankly, I for a while I had both, but you get to the point where when you have a big enough collection, some people want watches that have redundant styles, but in my personal opinion, I already have a big enough collection. I'd like to at least have each watch have its own style, and I don't like having 2 of the same kind of watch in the collection because that reduces the variety. So I do miss this watch. I sold it for 15. I could get more for it today. And it's one of the few I miss. I did a video on that. The Oyster Quartz, the only reason I don't miss it is because it was a 36. And I have 18 plus centimeter wrists, and I know there's an elegance, and I wore this a lot with a suit. And that was the only place I felt comfortable wearing it, because you can wear a 36 with a suit, because the point wearing a suit is not to have a shouty watch. The point with a suit is to have something elegant that matches the style and the atmosphere and the clothing that you're wearing. And the Oyster Quartz is a phenomenal suit piece. But I don't wear suits enough, and it was actually getting to the point where I got my money back from all that I spent to get it renovated. And I do have a video on this watch. The Seamaster, the only reason I sold that is the point I sold it, I had like 4 Omegas, and I'm realizing, I gotta you could literally make a collection of nothing but Omegas, and each would be a unique watch. That's how beautiful that company is. And I'm not going to become an Omega evangelical video right now. But I got to a point where I realized I have too many Omegas. I still have 3. A Speedsonic, the Globemaster, and of course the Speedmaster. And I'm not getting rid of the Speedmaster, and I'm not getting rid of the Globemaster. I might get rid of the Speedsonic, but then again, that's a different thing. And then I'll still have 2 Omegas. So I sold the Seamaster because the Globemaster just is the epitome of what Omega's doing with watches. So I liked the Omega Seamaster, but as long as I have the Globemaster, I don't miss any of the modern Omegas because the Globemaster is just so awesome. Okay, we're into the new year. This was another Seamaster I had. This was the same style design that they had for the Jedi. It has a 24-hour hand embedded in the running seconds subdial, and just a really nice piece. Again, the only reason I sold it is just I was moving all of these watches through my collection, doing all these videos. And I just wanted to experience and have fun with these watches, and I was very lucky that I was able to do it. I got $1,800 for this one. I bought it for $2,000. I'm not doing badly. Like I said, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing it for the love of the game. And now that I have this forum where I can have fun with it with you, it just makes it even more enjoyable, frankly. I've wanted an El Primero my entire collecting journey, and I had the El Primero Rainbow with the white face two-tone, and I liked it, but it just wasn't there for me because that was just a little too dressy for me, and I came across this blue one, and I bought it, and I enjoyed it a great deal. And then I realized, wait a second, I'm at the point now where I could buy a new Chronomaster. And that's when I started thinking about buying the new Chronomaster. And I sold this and a few other pieces to build my war chest. I talk about it in a couple of videos. But this is a beautiful piece. And of course, it was the Daytona, when the Daytona was the Daytona. This is indistinguishable from the Daytona of its era in a lot of ways. The Tudor Tiger, that was the most recent. I had a video when I talked about going through the whole. I had a micro journey with Tudor. I've had the watch for about 6 months or so, and I realized that I didn't want the Tudor as Hans Wilsdorf envisioned it. I wanted the Tudor as it has grown into, and I went and I got myself the Tudor Heritage Black Bay. I sold this for $34. I got $31. I didn't have a box, but I did have papers in a little pouch. So I probably could have gotten a little more, but at the end of the day, you just want to get most of your money back. Then I finally sold, and I really, really hesitated selling it. But again, I just had to get some of the, I don't want to call it dead weight because I loved all these watches, but some of the watches that I'm not wearing very often, that I'm not getting all of my enjoyment out of, and I really enjoy this watch. But this was another one of those watches that I had it a lot for what it was and not for how much enjoyment I was getting out of it. Even though I was getting a lot of enjoyment out of it, I had other watches I was enjoying more. And so I got 21 for this and 19 out at the end of the day. And then the last Explorer to leave my hands, the Explorer 2, just an example of how bloated the Rolex market is. No box, no papers. I put a display back on it because I had the engraved back buffed off by a jeweler, and I still got $6,300 for it. You follow me? More power to it. I made back the money I lost on some of the other watches. But in another sense, I'm also really glad that I have no more Rolexes in my collection because now my collection is much less theft attractive. You can't move half the watches in my collection without 6 months in the list of contacts. So like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with Rolex, and this was the last one I sold. And I kind of miss it, but I don't miss it. And that's it for the. This was a canceled order. Everything from above here on Chrono 24 are old accounts that old contracts that didn't pay out and such. But as you see, there was quite a lot of churn in the account, a lot of movement, a lot of interesting pieces coming and going. And as I said, the collection is basically the watches that I couldn't bring myself to sell along.